Hi, I'm Dr. Kit Weathers, and once again it's time for the root tip of the week. But before we get started, I want to show you something that's going to be really amazing. This is the magic trick of the week, and what I'm going to do is take a can of Coke, can of beer, it really doesn't make any difference. I'm going to hypnotize that can, and if I do it just right, I might be able to make it move around the table. And the Coke can can't really do that. In fact, if you're very, very careful, you can actually take the can, put it right on the edge of a table, and you can talk to it, have it come back to you. It almost spilled. You got to be careful with this, but it is a magic trick that everybody that sees it is amazed by. And you don't have to do anything except sit there and set the can up and just make it do a couple of little tricks like that. You don't have to make a big magical trick out of it. But this is a simple, simple trick. And I'm going to do something now I normally would not do. I'm going to reveal the trick to you right now. Normally I make you go to the top hat and learn the magic trick, but I want to show you how this is done. If you look at the bottom of any can, you'll find a little ridge around here, and that little ridge is what allows it to balance. The trick is you have to put about 25% of the can has to still have liquid in it, and that way it will counterbalance itself as you lay it on that little ridge. And it's going to be so spectacular you'll fool yourself with it. And if you're very careful how you manipulate the can, push it from the back, then you'll really come up with a miracle, and it is so easy to do, you'll just love it. I sometimes sit and just do this without saying anything to anybody, and it just becomes a wonderful magic trick. That's the magic trick of the week. Now let's talk about the root tip of the week. Well, today's root tip of the week concerns file separation. Nobody likes breaking files. If you look at the x-ray on the left-hand side, you'll see a beautiful root canal, except one of the canals has a broken instrument. And to make matters worse, the person that did this had just taken my course, got home, and on the very first root canal separated an instrument. It's not malpractice to break a file, but it's a pretty bad idea to not tell the patient about it right away. So let's talk about ways to avoid breaking files. Now, this person that I'm going to be talking about today is a close friend of mine, an excellent dentist, but they don't want to have their identity revealed, and you can probably imagine why. So I'm just going to call him or her Randy, because Randy could either end in a Y or an I, and it could be a male or a female. Anyway, separated files are no fun, so let's see what we can do to eliminate that from ever happening in your practice. Now, in Randy's case, the root canal really doesn't look that bad. Two of the files and two of the canals actually look pretty good. It's that third one that's off to the side that's not real pretty. In this particular case, Randy wanted to save a couple of bucks. Instead of buying a special handpiece that runs 350 RPM, it turns out that if you take a 10-to-1 reduction angle and try to gauge how 250 or 350 RPM would look, it can get away from you, and that's what happened here. But there are a lot of other ways that files can separate, and let's look at a couple of them and see what we can do to eliminate that problem. Use the acronym ART to remember the major causes of file separation. A is for perfect access. If your file goes in and has to bend in order to get down in the canal, that's not good access. It'll bend it back and forth as it's rotating, and the file will break. R, keep the file running. It's either rotating or running down the canal or running back out. You don't want to let it go to length and just leave it there running. That's not going to be a good thing. T, toss these files after one use, or at the most after 2 uses. Here's what you can do. Use a brand new set of files on all molars, and then take that same set of files and only use it on an anterior tooth, and you'll stay out of trouble. And that is the art of not separating files. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's Root Tip of the Week. If you have any questions, be sure and send them to me, and I'll be happy to answer them. Sometimes you'll get it as an email answer, and sometimes you'll get it as a Root Tip of the Week, as we did here. Send it to the address shown on the screen, and I will promise you we will answer your questions. Thanks again. See you next time. Well, that's it for another edition of the Root Tip of the Week. I'm Dr. Kit Weathers, and I will see you at the next Root Camp.